and a look at adding algebraic fractions, and that is when we have fractions with variables, unknowns in them, like this one here. So we take 3 over 2x plus x over y, and we have to be able to make that into one fraction. And it's called simplification, even though the answer actually looks more complex at the end. Simplification is taking two terms, that is subtracted or added together, and combining them into one term. And the rule, just as it is with numbers, is that you can only add with a common denominator. The bottom line has to be the same on both cases, and therefore we have to multiply one or other fraction to make the denominators the same. And once we've done that, we leave that denominator and we add or subtract the top lines, and that's our answer. I'm going to do some because it's probably easier to see than to read about. So simplifying 3 over x plus 4 over y, we have bottom lines that are different. The x and the y are different, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 3 over x top and bottom by y, and 4 over y top and bottom by x. That leaves that unchanged because the x's would cancel out, so that is the same number as that, and that is the same number as that. But we can then add them because we have common denominators, and that's our answer, 3y minus 4x over xy. Now, some people get into the habit of always multiplying the denominators across and then by each other. That's alright for a lot of cases, but shouldn't be learned as a rule. Has some drawbacks, as we'll see in a minute. Firstly, it's not cross-multiplying. Cross-multiplying is when we solve fractions across an equal sign. This is not cross-multiplying, and really the whole concept of cross-multiplying should be avoided as the work of the devil. It is multiplying top and bottom to get a common denominator. That's what it's about. We're making the denominators the same, which may or may not involve multiplying by opposites. And I'll show you one where you shouldn't. Simplifying 2 over x squared plus 5 over x. Now we look at that. In fact, the denominators are already very similar. So all I'm going to have to do is multiply the right hand one by x. 5x rather, and x times x is x squared, and now I've got the same bottom line, and I can add them together. The 5x plus 2 over x squared. So I only changed one term in that case. If I'd followed the supposed rule of multiplying across, I'd have got x cubed, 2x, and I'd have got that, which is not the simplest term. Every part of that expression has an extra x in it compared to the better version. Be careful, don't just apply the rule willy-nilly, only apply it in cases where you need to. So, for ones like this, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to get that multiplied by that. So we multiply by the denominators on the opposite sides, and because this is a term, the 2 is multiplied by all of it. Absolutely vital to remember that when you have a fraction, effectively the x plus 4 is in brackets and the x minus 3 is in brackets, and when we multiply them across we have to retain that bracket. So we have that. Now the bottom lines are now the same, and we can add them together. The 2x minus 6 x squared plus 4x. Very important you expand them out because we can simplify. We now have like terms. 2 and 4 together is 6, and so our answer is x squared plus 6x minus 6 all over x minus 3. You can multiply out the bottom line to x squared minus 3x if you want, but it's not obligatory. What you must do is combine them with the same bottom line, then simplify the top line as much as possible. Last one, and this is the one that they will normally give you, one of this level, because it has the tricky double negative in it. So we've got to watch this and this. So we start as normal. We're going to multiply across. X plus 1 times x is going to have to be our bottom line, so we multiply across. And now we have to watch this minus sign, because it, combined with this minus sign, is going to cause trouble. My recommendation is that you take this minus sign and then you turn it into a plus negative on the top line. That is, you take a minus there and you turn it into plus the negative. So when we multiply out, we have minus x times minus 4 becomes plus 4x, and minus x times x is minus x squared, of course. That avoids missing that double negative. That's not terribly obvious otherwise. Then we simplify terms, plus 4x is plus 2x is plus 6x, and that's our answer. Doesn't matter what order you write the top line, as long as all of the terms are simplified. Doesn't matter what order you write the bottom line, and you can expand it if you want. And that's our rules. We can only add with common denominators. So our first step is to multiply top and bottom by one or both fractions to make the denominators common. Then we add the top lines, making sure to simplify any common terms, like terms rather, and with the denominator staying unchanged. And be very careful with negatives, and especially double negatives. They're very fond of putting those in the exam questions.